just likes to like nosedive out of nowhere, or the stream just like stops. It doesn't like start lagging or anything. It's just like all of a sudden it's over. It says I've got 4 fucking bars here, so I don't know what the problem is. YouTube or AT&T or Cricket or whoever the fuck is doing this to me. But I'd like to be able to finish my fucking live stream without it just like, oh, whoop, it's over. So I don't know if anybody was watching, but where was I? I'm just going to continue from the previous. This is Thoughtcast Part 2 or 3. This is Part 2. Is it laggy? I mean, I've got 4 bars, so I'm assuming that it's fucking, not that bad. But in any case, this patio used to be twice as big, and then they put this fucking painted quotidian over here. And so they privatized half the space. This is public space, goddammit, that they're making money off of.
I know.
Anyway, what the fuck? I was bitching about Greenpoint, how it sucks now. Or it's all just gentrified. It's just like it's like the meatpacking district. As I'm walking around, I'm like, this is the new meatpacking district. There's like it's got all the same ingredients, It's literally just like they're trying to recreate. It's like millennial West Village. Sex and the City Part 3 for millennials. For people who grew up watching girls. It was just eerie. It was eerie how much I'm like, Jesus Christ, this feels exactly like, or it just felt like a different version. That makes sense. I guess those districts were probably used for similar things. It was a port. It was a warehouse district. It's on the river. It's on the west side of the land. And so, or like the northwest side. And so, is it lagging? Am I going to get shut down again? It says I've got 4 fucking stars, so I'm kind of pissed about this. It's my phone's fault. You should know the thoughts and ID. Oh, is this gonna work? Let's see if this actually works. Let's see if this actually works. It says I can resume the stream. Then my stream, this is all fucked up for everybody. I'm sorry. We're experiencing extreme. We're being hacked. China has hacked our mainframe, and they're bringing us down. The Chinese, I want people to know, this is like COVID. Maybe I'll try over here. I think these people are leaving. Maybe I'll get another fucking view on things, another look at things. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you, Adam S. I was just reading your comment. So I appreciate that. It keeps the motivation to keep going, gives us fuel to keep going. Are these French tourists gonna leave or what? I mean, to be fair, there's French tourists everywhere. It's not just Greenpoint, and they all look like, I don't know, DJs. They all look like Fatboy Slim. He was like a Let's try this. I'm gonna try this fucking table over here. Hopefully, this does better for us. It doesn't just cause the goddamn stream to just croak. Hey, this is DIY at its purest, okay? This isn't just some fucking money laundering, rich people, millennial trust fund kid. Vanity project pop-up. This is, look at me. I'm putting my heart and soul in this. My eyes are bleeding. We're in the Sondo here, people. We're in the Sondo. The Sondo. Alright, can you see that? God, what is with these cameras? I mean, YouTube, get your shit together. How could it be so blown out? How can I not get any? There we go. Give me some of that. Doesn't want to. It just wants to be incredibly blown out. Okay, well, so be it. You know, fuck it. Who cares if the live stream just kick out halfway through? Nothing's gonna stop this fucking locomotive of analysis, okay? From just chugging endlessly, tangentially, incoherently along forever. Is there anything more to say about the snug little alcove that is Greenpoint and how it's been taken over by, I don't know, people who love microdosing? That's how it appears to me. It feels like there's a lot of microdosing going on. Look at my fucking eyes. I haven't slept well this week. I've been haunting. It's been so nice out that I just need to walk. And so, like I said, I was on memory lane. I lived at Greenpoint and Morgan. So I went to McGolrick Park. I haven't been there in a while. First time I did acid was in that area. So I guess it probably has some kind of deep astrological. Look at my fucking aging. I was just looking at a stream from 2 years ago. Oh my God. It was from October 22. I'm aging like Elvis. Bloated and pale. God damn this lag. This is pissing me off so much. This is like a live stream from like the 90s. It's so fucking laggy. I'm on dial-up here. I've got my 56K, so... Is that why you left? I had 2 people watching and they left. Don't abandon me, okay? Oh, here's something I've been meaning to talk about. I learned this from Tom Cruise. There's somebody was talking about how Tom Cruise taught them this in some press junket interview, and they were like, Tom Cruise was like, when you go into a room, ask yourself, who am I attaching my insecurity to? Who am I attaching my insecurity to? I'm going to repeat that, okay? Tom Cruise says, I'm going to repeat that, okay? Tom Cruise says, when you go into a room, you have to ask yourself, who am I attaching my insecurity to? Think about that, okay? We all have our insecurities in the ways we're trying to use other people to fill those gaps. And you notice it. Anytime you get on a subway, anytime you go anywhere, there's always people you sort of fixate on and you're thinking, okay, who's that or whatever. And why? Why is it every room you go into, you need a little blanket or something? You know, it's like you're using somebody as a blankie. I'm scared. I'm insecure. I need attention from this person. I need to try to like create some kind of like fictional inner narrative attachment between me and this person. And it's, you know, because you almost never meet anybody anywhere. How often do you meet somebody that you really like, form a deep, lasting relationship with? You don't talk to hardly anybody, but you're always projecting and needing from people. I guess, I don't know. I'm no Lacanian psychoanalyst, okay? God damn this lag. Pissing me the fuck off, man. Is it just because my phone is finally just, I dropped it too many goddamn times? Or is it because I'm in the, I mean, I wasn't really having these problems last year with the lag. Is that something dropping your phone? Does anybody know, tech heads, techies? I know I've got a lot of tech fans out there. I'm so pro-tech. Being the video game streamer that I am, and libertarian. Libertarian South Park conservative. Fuck South Park. I don't give a fuck. I don't ever want to hear about any South Park take on anything ever again. You know, this is one of my least favorite things about the mainland United States. One of the best things about living in New York is you almost never hear about South Park. You almost never hear somebody recount an entire South Park fucking episode to you. Whereas if you're in anywhere in the continental United States mainland, that's all you're gonna hear. If you're hanging out with millennial white guys, anyway. Oh, there was this great South Park episode about that. Oh, you're talking about gentrification? Oh, there's this great South Park. Did you see Shitty Walk? Whatever the fuck it is. I don't care. I'm reading, too busy reading Bob Iger's autobiography in large print. That's a callback, everybody, for fans of the show. That's a callback, okay? This is my prop. You know how Groucho's a cigar, George Burns is a cigar. You gotta have a prop. And I don't know. It's a crutch. It's my cross to bear. Speaking of Easter, my eyes are starting to look like Emperor Palpatine's for all my sci-fi nerds out there. My eyes, I'm starting to look like Emperor Palpatine. You used to be able to make money doing cool shit. Now it's just like you have to be a nerd to make money. And so now the nerds have taken over everything. Everything's a fucking spreadsheet. Everything's analytics, data, metadata. Fuck it, okay? This is the ergonomic wave of information synthesized into rambling fireside chat. You know, this is what human beings are supposed to do. You have hours and hours and hours and hours. You sit around the fire and you bullshit. You shoot the shit, is what they call it, or whatever. You chew the fat. We're chewing the fat here, okay? What do you say? Yeah, so I don't know. It was emotional. It was emotional being Greenpoint. That's why I don't go there. Too many, you know, memorable scenes in the long-form episodic narrative television show of my fucking adventure. You know, in all the worlds of New York, all these towns. You know, that's part of the reason why I moved here, is because it's, you know, for something relatively affordable like the MTA, you're getting so much. You get so goddamn much. You know, you get Central Park, you get Coney Island, you get the West Village, you get the East Village, you get goddamn Greenpoint, you get Jackson Heights, you know, a lot of places I haven't even gone. There's tons of fucking places I've never been in New York. I would say probably, you know, 75% of the map. I kind of just do this over and over again. You guys know. You're always with me. You see exactly where I am. What my habits are. I don't know. To me, it's like, what could be better than this? There's nothing as good as this in Brooklyn, as far as I'm concerned. As this little spot. Not to blow up my shit, but like, you know, it was nice. I was sitting on the river yesterday and looking at the fucking skyline on Williamsburg Beach. I mean, that used to be the Washington Beach. That used to be like the dirtbag hipster. And it still has this kind of, I don't know, DJ culture and like warehouse rave culture has just been so fucking, it's like the mainstream now. Like, I was looking at this Reddit. Why are there no more bands? You know, why are there hasn't been like a band on the fucking charts in like 20 years or something of like guitar, bass, drums. Or it's been, you know, decade or something. Other than like Jack White and shit. And he's not really a band. He's just one guy. It's like, and I think this one guy was saying, well, you know, like everybody's just into techno music now. Or like you need to have like giant bass woofers and shit. And like women, especially, it's like they're into EDM. They want to go to raves. They want to go to, even at Coachella and shit, it's sort of like part rave, you know? It's like that music is the most high definition. It's the most high fidelity. It's the most, I mean, you can't really get that kind of bass effect on a bass guitar. It's like in a certain way, guitars are these kind of like, they're antiquated. They might as well be fucking, you know, harps or something. They might as well be fucking like an oud or like a, you know, they're just they look like Egyptian or something at this point. It's like all you need, and now if you're like at the open mic, right? It's like you see the raw performance, and I love that. You know, I love seeing the raw performance. And, you know, there's a lot of guitar players who have figured out how to make some, you know, that's why everybody does all this crazy shit on their acoustic guitar where they drum on it and shit. Ed Sheeran, because it's like they need to compete with fucking Deadmau5 or whatever I don't even know what that culture is. I'm so garage hipster exennial that, like, I've never listened to goddamn EDM. It doesn't interest me. It's frustrating to me. I can't really relate to people that like that's their culture, which is like most everybody now. You know, mainstream culture is sort of an imitation of like hip EDM, like rave, go to Ibiza or go to the fucking Boiler Room or whatever. Or, you know, I like going to Laban. You know, I like going to clubs and hearing the music and shit, but like when I was a wedding DJ, I never like affected like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like beat match and like do some kind of fucking mega mix and like I don't know, do whatever the fuck, stutter edits and drops and all of that cliche kind of shit now. That's like, you can't, as a band, it's just like you're overpowered. It's computers, man. It's quantum fucking computing and shit. And so get fucked, you know, with your electric guitar. Unless you've got a fucking pedal board. You know, that's what Jack White does. He doesn't sound like, you know, fucking Ronnie Van Zant from Lynyrd Skynyrd. He's got all these crazy pedals and shit that kind of jack him up to let him compete with the modern canoodling and bass bottom that they can fucking, you know. I guess I should get into that stuff, but like, to me, it's like a lot of the shit that I was looking at in Greenpoint yesterday, like is House of fucking Vans out there, Red Bull Academy. You know, to me, that's the part where I get off like the gentrification theme park. Like I have no interest in going to House of Vans or the fucking Red Bull Academy to see Brian Eno or Andre 3000 do some kind of like inside the actor studio live stream with some fucking magazine editor or website editor or whatever, or Vice. Remember when Vice owned everything? Williamsburg was like pioneered by goddamn Vice. And all those people lost their jobs. I don't know what they do now. What do all the video editors from 2011 do now? I don't know. You know, everybody who was really cool when I moved here was like a couple steps ahead. They were video editors. They worked for Vice. They were cutoffs. Now it's like the cutoff has just been assimilated into like the normie sense of style. It's like cutoff, jeans, shorts. The way that like some kind of edgy, crunchy hipster would have looked 20 years ago now is like kind of basic. It's just acclimated into like center left mainstream. You're slightly hip, but like not really. When I walk around, I feel like a fucking artifact. I feel like it's like, whoa, 2005 just walked in the door. This guy looks like a pinball bar. This guy looks like a walking fucking arcade bar. He looks like a Salvation Army from the Wes Anderson era. And I have a sort of vintage quality. Everything is so smooth now. You know, the surface of these neighborhoods has become so goddamn smooth. Williamsburg, Greenpoint. It used to be this warehouse, rough, waterfront. You know, people got all their clothes and they were falling apart. That was cool to dress like some old grandpa or something. Or Jackass, Johnny Knoxville. I don't know. Now it's like everybody looks like a hype beast. They're just so generic. Plain t-shirt, plain like skinny jean, black skinny jean, plain like white fucking sneaker, broccoli hair, some kind of like razor fucking weird, like look smogging, like chin cut that you like paid some fucking metrosexual barber to do or something. Like, I just don't get it. Why are people so obsessed with like the gradation of their beard and their fucking fade and shit? I mean, I get it. I guess that's like the newest things that like computerized razors can do and shit. It just looks super fucking lame. That's all. Everything looks like it was made with a fucking 3D printer now. Everybody's clothes are made of plastic and they look like they could have been fucking printed. I got my t-shirt jean sneakers at, I just printed them out, my 3D printer. Like, what the fuck? Get some texture. Get some goddamn texture. Everything feels very like lowercase and like whispery now. Or I don't know. I mean, it felt like some kind of minimalist theme park that had like taken over like a place with a lot of heart. I mean, I remember my friend saying she was disappointed because you used to be able to find rooms in Greenpoint for like $600, $700, $800. This was around the time of the pandemic, and you just couldn't anymore. I couldn't even imagine living in that neighborhood when it's cheap. I think David Berman lived there. Didn't he live in Greenpoint somewhere? On the other side of McGinnis, in the Superfund site. On the toxic Superfund site. I don't know, man. It's like you gotta live out there to know those venues and those... I remember when I first came to New York, I think on a vacation, I was in Greenpoint, or maybe it was I lived in Astoria. And there was like a video store, believe it or not. It was like 2008 or 9. I was in a video store, but I think it was like Kim's Video. It was on Manhattan Avenue. It was like a hipster video store. It was like, it was like a record store. You know, it was like, they had staff picks and Criterion and foreign movies and shit. Which, coming from Columbus, Ohio, that was like a big deal to me. Like, holy shit, you know? And there was this super hot chick on the phone, like, checking out. She was like, do you want to watch the Jacques Tati movie or this other? And I was like, I can't believe that this person even knows who Jacques Tati. I have to move here. I have to come to Greenpoint, to the artisanal video rental store, where there's like, you know, European model chicks that like watch fucking Jacques Tati movies. And now it's all people who love DJs. And I don't know, it feels, I mean, you know, to be honest, some of the new apartment buildings are pretty nice, actually. I think people have gotten the memo, like, you can't just like totally build these 5/1 garbage apartments, like these glass box high-rise towers. I get it, they can get more units in there, and in the ways they were building them in Greenpoint, they actually had some style and some, you know, some panache. They looked kind of academic. They had like a nice kind of warm quality, which that architecture usually is severely lacking. It usually just looks like a bank or some kind of like corporate like office park. It's like we fucking live here. I don't just want a window for a wall. Like, give me some fucking cornices, man. Give me some fucking ornamentation. Give me some flourishes, you know, some fucking spice of life, goddammit. Don't just cheap out on everything, you sons of bitches. My dad's willing to buy me a $2 million condo in fucking Greenpoint. Let's sort of make it look like some kind of like neo J.D. Salinger fucking townhouse or something from fucking L.A. From goddamn Silver Lake or Echo Park or Highland Park. They're just moving further east. How did this happen? I mean, one of the most frustrating things for me is like during the whole Trump era in the woke kind of mania that everybody was in, I was also in the woke mania, but like I was also talking about all of this shit. I was talking about gentrification and how that is a kind of colonization. Now it's all about transplants, right? This is what everybody's bitching about in New York. It's like there's too many transplants. There's too many white people in Crown Heights. There's too many white people in Brownsville and East New York and these places that like white people have never even gone before. No white person has ever gone. And now it's like they're just going to take the whole neighborhood and build these like crazy giant aquarium style like sea monkey condos with like corporate plaza, but it's like it's very organic and like Palo Alto Google-y headquarters-y. It's just like there's too much space. A lot of these apartment buildings in Greenpoint, they just have too much space. It's like it's still New York. You're still gonna walk. I don't want to walk 900 yards to get like something that's like pedestrian friendly down like a fucking driveway. It's like, put me in the grid, baby. Put me on the street plan, you son of a bitch. And so somebody did get the memo, at least in Williamsburg and Brooklyn, where like, you know, rich people who are douchebags affect like, and there's a lot of Europeans that live in New York. You know, it has kind of an IKEA. These condo buildings feel kind of IKEA. They feel like they were made by IKEA, which is not a bad thing necessarily. I mean, IKEA can do good work, but it's not exactly, I don't know, built for the centuries or anything. Greenpoint just feels like it came out of some IKEA box. And it's like some European audiophile's record player. It's just like it's kind of precious. Is this laggy for people? What's going on? Is this my phone? Did I fuck my goddamn phone up by dropping it too much? I should have just, we've been living in the era of $200 iPhones, basically, you know, since they came out. iPhones never, I think I bought the first iPhone at $400. I think I did pay $400. But I may have gotten some kind of a few months free or something. But I don't think I've paid more than $200 for an iPhone since then. And so I just kind of took it for granted that, like, my iPhone was going to last 2 years. I thought that was like kind of the planned obsolescence. It's like it's built to last about as long as your fucking contract. As soon as you pay the final installment of your monthly payment, it'll break. That's how it was designed. I thought that's how it was meant to be. And so, is this fucking laggy? Tell me if it's lagging. Somebody checked out. It is kind of like, I just hope it just doesn't stop on me. I'll just keep going. I'm just going to keep putting it on. I didn't realize I was going to need to hold on to this goddamn iPhone SE for like the rest of my life because of these fucking tariffs. Or at least until Trump gets, you know, when is it going to get to the point that somebody within, I mean, I guess there is no within because Trump really is like his own agent. That's part of like his thing, is everybody just kind of understand. Even the Republicans, it's like he's not really one of them. He just made them his bitch. They went from like all hating him and talking about he's Hitler, like J.D. Vance, to being like, oh, yeah, we love this guy. We're going to invade Greenland. We're going to raise taxes. We're going to tariff shit. We're going to, add more government to the fucking, we're going to add more regulation to trade. So, I don't know. Maybe there is no, like, conspiring against him. Like with Hitler, they never could kill him either. There were plots here and there. But, how far is it going to go? I mean, the way that they've taken a big step back from the tariffs, and he could see that he sort of, like, really fucked up things that he didn't think he was going to fuck up. The bond market and the treasuries, and he kind of soiled the fucking reputation of those things, which were sterling and kind of like one of the crucibles of just like American leadership and power, frankly, is just like having that brand stability just go right out the fucking door. And no, people don't want to buy like our debt or whatever the fuck anymore. And so he backed off big time on that, but it's like, I don't know. What if he hadn't? What if he had just crashed everybody's shit? Would they take him out? How far is he gonna have to go? How reckless? How many signal chats breaches? And when is it gonna dawn on people like he's trying to destroy the country from within, and he has been. And to be honest, I think there's a lot of people who have wanted that for a long time. That's basically what the neocons wanted. Trump is just like this agent, this master of chaos that can really do the job if they'll let him. He'll bankrupt the fucking place. So we'll see, I guess. But it's no fun having to be subject to price gouging and, just unnecessary super inflation, which is going to hit us. It's already, it's already so expensive to live. This is one of the reasons why I talk so much about urban design, or I don't even know if I'd call it that, because I don't want to talk about it like in some academic way. I do want to have like an organic feel for it, just through my own kind of like flanner revelries through the endless avenues of the city. Brooklyn is kind of like Philadelphia in a way. Whereas like, Manhattan has the kind of like grid and the right angles and the parallel lines and the kind of like forecasting of that and like structure of that. Whereas Brooklyn, if you look at it as sort of its own town on the opposite island, developed simultaneously in parallel with Manhattan, which is really what it is, even though they're bound together now and all of the boroughs are bound, the 5 boroughs are bound together. It wasn't always like that. It's kind of crazy to think that Manhattan, there were no fucking bridges. Like, in order to get here, you had to take a fucking boat, and there was no way off except for boats. Like, that's kind of crazy to think about. That it was such a powerful place, that it was, and just psychologically, what that island life. Now, like I said, the boroughs are kind of like strutted and woven together by the bridges and the tunnels, and the legislation that says this is New York City, all of it, right? But Brooklyn, right, in its own right, would be like the 4th largest city in America or something, if it was its own fucking city. And now more than ever, I think Brooklyn, it's no longer just like the hip, coolest city in the world, which it was. I did a talk piece sort of thing where I said, at the end of the 2010s, I said the 2010s were the Brooklyn decade. I remember at the beginning of the 2010s reading this article, I think on the Huffington Post, about Brooklyn in the 2010s was like Paris in the 1920s. And, you know, I think that's kind of true in a way. You know, in my life, anyway, that's as close as and it felt that way. And the way that Paris and Philadelphia and Boston and these European-style Eastern Seaboard cities, New Haven, which develop in a pedestrian village, kind of seaside footpath way, their grid is this magical kind of, you know, fractal or whatever of all these different angles and sizes, big streets, little streets. Amazing little, almost every place has some kind of magical, because it's all a village. It's just huge, right? And so Brooklyn, I would say, in a certain way, has, even though it's kind of a suburb, and because it's like it's not as mixed use. There's long blocks of residential with no businesses, and so it's not quite as dense as like downtown Manhattan in that sense, where there's all these things on top of each other and a lot of mixed use, and that's part of what makes it a good, you know, habitat for fucking people to live in, vis-a-vis that Jane Jacobs book, right? That's all about that. The Life and Death of American Cities. It's all about living in the West Village, basically, and how the West Village, just by design, is this kind of perfect community because of eyes on the street and all that kind of shit, and mixed use, commercial, residential, all being in one building, a shop on the first floor, apartments above it, you know, like that adds to everybody's life because people can buy things from the merchants, they don't have to travel. Whereas now it's like they build these fucking towers in Greenpoint where it's like it's just a residential tower. You got to order everything. That's what I'm walking around thinking, well, that's designed for people to get everything delivery. You know, if you have all your food delivered and everything you buy delivered, and you have a car, there's like a fucking garage in the basement. It's like, in a certain way, you're not really living in New York, but if that's what you want, they have that. To me, that's like living in some kind of fucking pod or something. Like, I want to go out into the street and have a fucking derive where just like you chance upon things and you discover things, and you know, that's part of the magic of it, is just like the improvisation and not knowing what's going to happen and following your intuition and wandering and thinking and doing this, you know, musing and shit. And so you know, I never really walked long distances in Brooklyn. But the thing that really got me into walking long distances in New York is that Charles Reznikoff stuff. You know, his poems, he talks about, you know, he would walk from fucking, you know, the Upper West Side to like where I live, probably. You know, it's like it was not a thing for him to walk 9 or 10 miles. And your sense of what is a normal distance to walk, I think, is elastic and can shift a lot. Like you know, when I first came to New York in 2003, it was like, I wasn't even going to walk 13 blocks from 59th Street to 72nd Street in Central Park, because I'm like, oh my God, that's too far. 13 blocks, are you crazy? Across this park and shit, it's like, no way. I'm from Ohio. I've driven everywhere I've, you know, ever been. My feet have barely touched the ground, unless I'm playing video games inside or something, or I'm playing golf. And golf was way too much walking. Okay, I'm on 20%, so I will get off soon. But thank you for watching. If this has been laggy, I don't know. It was laggy yesterday too, so maybe it's just my goddamn piece of shit phone. I've been dropping it a little too much. I don't have a problem with other programs though, so I don't know. Um, and so I don't know. Maybe walking from fucking Greenpoint to Park Slope is not that outrageous. It's, once again, it's one of these things that kind of weaves the city together. It's like, one of my favorite things that I ever did was I used to be taking the train out to an open mic, and then I'd walk back to my apartment in Chelsea over the bridge. I'd go to Pete's Candy Store and I'd just walk home because the bridge isn't that far, and it's like once you get over the bridge, it's like you're in the fucking Lower East Side. Once you're in the Lower East Side, it's like all the neighborhoods are very condensed. And so, the scooter is really the ultimate. The e-scooter is really the ultimate lifestyle, flanner. But, I don't really, it's been a few years since I've been able to sustain that. Yeah, so, the cost of living crisis, this is something that I've been fixated on because it's at the heart of all the New York School poetry stuff. The reason why the second generation of the third generation of the New York School were able to exist was because of rent control. All these poets were able to get rent-controlled apartments in the East Village. They all lived in the same fucking neighborhood within, 20 blocks of each other and St. Mark's Church. And they didn't have to work because their rent was so cheap, so they could just lay around doing drugs, writing poetry, like a rich person can, because of the post-war kind of American New Deal policies that were still in place. And Mimeo, right? And all of that. The readings. They could just walk to the goddamn church. And now, New York, it's a little bit further apart and it's expensive, but it's still happening. People are still making it work somehow. People are still doing magazines and doing readings. But, that to me was at the heart of what was important about the New York School. And you could say that's a political thing. Bernadette Mayer is not like annoying about politics like Diane DePrima, but it's there, it's all over it in a way that's like kind of more, I don't know, considerate of the reader. I mean, I love revolutionary letters and all that, but it's gotten a lot of attention in the last few years. And maybe rightly so, I don't know. Maybe it is the book that people need. I guess it is. It's one of them, definitely. But there's room for everybody, But, at the heart of a lot of that New York School stuff is they were able to live cheaply and sort of be outside. And it's just like it's gotten increasingly harder to do that. The thing you need to be an artist is cheap rent, right? That's sort of something that comes up throughout the Bohemia, whatever period it's in, Beats, or like I was saying, New York School. That was something they sort of got from the Beats, right? There are stylistic things that they got as well, but that's sort of an ethos of living on the cheap, not working, being a poet 24 hours a day, right? It's a 24-hour a day job, is poetry. Or stand-up comedy, if that's what you want to call it. Or whatever the hell it is you do. And just, New York used to be sort of, if you could handle how fucking, dangerous it was and scary, it used to be a place where that was a possibility. You could live for little money in a little village with all your poet friends. Amongst this incredible architecture and culture that was flourishing because interesting, people could live here. And working class is another part of it. Somebody like Ted Berrigan, right? State school poet. He went to state schools. He went to whatever the fuck it was. Tulsa State or Oklahoma State or something. And on the GI Bill, I think. And was able to sort of work his way into like elite New York kind of art art circles. And that kind of social mobility, I'm not sure if it's still here. To be honest, this is the thing that's like striking me about like a lot of the literary scene is just like, as much as I like, there are people that are good for like local. That's the thing that drives me nuts about being a part of like local reading culture is like the people that get celebrated on like a local level who get to do readings. It's like a lot of times their writing is pretty fucking banal, and and that's why it's agreeable to people when they read at places, because it's not necessarily that challenging or interesting. Um, Even in New York, it's like a lot of like going to that fucking fiction bar. It's like it's very popular, but it's like the work is just so corny. And so it's like you have all these people like Brooklyn is, people move to New York to be part of literary life, Center for Fiction, books are magic. And it's all very books are magic coded. It's all these like romantasy loving kind of like, I don't know, frustrated cat moms. And that's just not my audience. I mean, maybe it should be. But, I'm a little crude. I work blue. I think that's off-putting to people. And I'm very aggressive with my insecurity, putting at the forefront of my art. Trying to ambush people before they can take it serious. Or I don't know. I'm with poetry. It's like there has to be this like soothing, serious, wounded quality, and I try to do that as much as I can. But I also just want to be entertaining and blah blah blah. And so looking at my book, I'm like, am I leaning on that too much? Do I need more? I need more kind of like slow, reverential, kind of like feeling with sadness. I need more sadness in there. Just not a sad person. I'm chugging fucking THC all the time to stay like Bill Maher, a libertine. I don't want to get off this because I do want to talk shit about, I don't know. It's just like, is New York too expensive for people to be, I don't know. It's like, are there really, the gatekeepers all feel very pampered to me and sheltered, and like they're the product of privileged upbringings. And even a lot of woke politics felt like sort of a class warfare where it was like, hey, if you don't know pronouns, you're fucked. And it's like, well, a lot of poor blue collar working dumbass people probably don't know that shit, or I don't know. We got to walk on eggshells to all these people that went to fucking, Bard or whatever, where that shit is like the main emphasis. And so, the people who went to Bard they all get ahead here. They're already all plugged in. And so it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's always like that, but it seems like hyper more than ever. It seems hyper gatekept. And like the positions are just circulating amongst like the upper class twits. It's just a bunch of people who went to boarding school or whatever, and that's a lot different than going to like a fucking public school and a state school, right? It's like being in a fucking jail, practically. And so more and more, New York has just become like a country club and a private, like I was saying, it's like Greenpoint has become this, that's what was a surprise about it to me, is like, it's as much of a theme park now. Williamsburg and Greenpoint have become like a tourist resort in a way that it wasn't like that like 15 years ago. That maybe there were some boutique hotels and like sort of Portlandia hotel type shit, but like it wasn't like high rise fucking like Miami or something, uh, or Brighton Beach. Well, Brighton Beach, I guess, is not really a tourist spot, but like, I don't know. It's just that's kind of another kind of, you know, upper class bourgeois fucking occupation of a gathering, what was a working class like Polish community or whatever. It was an immigrant community. That's what you're seeing. Crown Heights, it's like Caribbeans, Haitian people, African people. Fucking Sunset Park was like a lot of Chinese people, Mexican people, Latino people. Bay Ridge is like Middle Eastern people, Syrian people. Italian, it was Italian. There's a lot of Italians. But it's like, well, now it's going to be condos. I don't even, where the fuck do all these people come from? That's what I want to know. It's just like, how are there so many people that are able to afford this lifestyle? It's like, do they have, is it from finance jobs, from tech jobs, from their parents are paying for it? Like, I guess more of those type of people are probably going to choose to live here, whereas 50 years ago, when at the beginning I was talking about like that flight to the suburbs, it's like those people would have lived in Connecticut or something, or I don't know, Hartford or fucking like Vince McMahon, Greenwich, Connecticut, or rather than the West Village. Or I did want to talk about, somebody was talking about on the Bill Maher forum on Reddit. Well, they're talking about why does Bill suck now? And why has he lost it? And, well, somebody had an interesting point about how Bill is a libertine. He likes having a good time. He likes smoking weed and, getting a blowjob and laughing and watching bad movies. And I don't know. What is the point of life, I guess, is the question. Is that the point of life, to just, like, feel good as much as you can? To smoke weed and to eat ice cream and to, whatever, et cetera, just, like, at as many, or, like, because that seems to be, like, what Bill Maher's, like, he wants his ego gratification. He wants to be in theaters in front of a bunch of people applauding for him. He wants a bunch of writers sort of kowtowing to him. And he gets his way a lot of the time. Okay, I'm on 10%, so I'm about to get off. Thank you for watching. I don't know. It's like... how much does discipline fit? Or, like, I don't necessarily want to be one of these people that's like addicted to fitness or working out, or, like, I do feel like there's a lot of focus on that in our culture, but, like, I also don't want to be like too much of a, I don't know, I don't know how much is too much. Is that bad? It seems like these things are bad for us. I don't know. But I don't know what my point is. So, I mean, I think in Bill Maher's case, I think part of the reason why he hates, like, woke politics, because it's not about him. It's like, it's sort of alienating to him. It's saying people like him are kind of the bad guy. White guys, old white guys. And it does make a lot of kind of like broad, categorical decisions about people in that way. But I also think, like, he's a narcissist. He's used to being like the center. He's the center of his show. And he thinks he is like having guests on and listening to them and blah blah blah. But it's like it's all about him. And I watching Colbert, we were watching an interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates. Colbert had Ta-Nehisi Coates on, and I'm like, Bill should be having more things like this. Bill does the opposite. He has the fucking guy who wrote the book about, the gay Republican guy who wrote the book about Israel or whatever. He has Steve Bannon on. It's like, Bill, you should have some woke guests on. You should have some trans people on your fucking show. Like, if you're going to talk so much shit about him, every fucking chance he gets, he talks about trans children and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, if you're going to talk about this, it's like, at least have some fucking guests on your goddamn show. You libertine. It's just like anything that inhibits his, like, vibe. It's like, I don't know. I'm not really into that. Gen Z is so... Fuck them. And, I don't know. I guess that's what happens to everybody when they get old. Is you become the old man yelling at sky. So anyway, thank you for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. And, we'll be back on next week, possibly with some big surprises. We don't know. Ashley's book release is May 14th at Anthology Film Archives. Like Bill Maher, I'm doing all my tour dates. That's one of the things I do like about Bill Maher is he says his tour dates. May 1st, I'll be in Atlantic City at Laugh Castle or whatever, Stitches. So Ashley's book launch is May 14th. Anthology Film Archives. We'll be showing the vlogs. I sent out my vlog. I've got a new vlog coming up. It just bounced. So stay tuned for that. And more dates to come. More poetry. For the soul. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend. It's beautiful.